Welcome to GRUNND PODCAST, a show about game development, adventures, music, and everything in between. Olaf Swash here, and in this episode we venture into a totally new place for this podcast, as for me as well, mobile game development. We are chatting with Valery Vishnyakov. He is CEO of HYPERCELL GAMES and is leading a studio that mostly focuses on hyper-casual games. We have a common friend who introduced us, and earlier this year he was kind enough to have a chat with me and share some insights. Obviously, I jumped on the opportunity and invited him to our podcast. So let's proceed with the call. Take it away, Shandy. Tell me something more.
Okay, just a second. I think. What about now?
Okay,
Is good?
it is good, loud and clear. So
Great.
now I'm just pressing some buttons. Think. So yeah, are you ready to start?
Yeah. But not sure about the format. But let's figure it out.
Oh, I am not asking any secret questions or.
Okay. Cool.
So this is the first ever interview actually with a person I have actually met. So welcome,
That's cool.
double welcome. You are CEO of HYPERCELL GAMES, and your studio is focused on hyper casual and casual games, and the studio I've been there, is pretty big with pillow chairs and all the jazz. My first question would be, how one pulls something like that off? How did you start this? A bit of a history.
Okay. Actually, I get here in the game dev industry by accident. It wasn't intended. So my previous experience was I was doing some startups. It was one of them was Ask.fm. Probably it's a kind of big startup from Latvia with a big buzz at some point and with pretty bad PR.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Sometimes later, kind of me and a couple of my friends decided to try out something in game dev industry. So we started the studio, and with the idea that we would do everything different than the market, and we would create our dream game.
Everybody says that, but it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's pretty common path for many developers. Yeah, and we started. We didn't have any experience in game dev at all, and but after running some successful startups, I kind of thought that I know everything, and game dev is not an exception. So I could be a good here, but it didn't work out, and we had to lay off some of the developers and some of the team members and start it over. And and that was that is the time when all the fun things started. So we kind of worked a lot and did, and we kind of it was pretty good timing when we failed with our kind of big dream game, and the market was about hyper casual games, right? And we kind of jumped into there, and there was one of the first studios who was actually considering hyper casual as a business, and started, and pretty good. We developed I don't know, maybe 40 prototypes, and one of the 40s was a pretty big hit and was pretty successful game.
Jesus, 40. That's how many people were you then? You didn't start small.
In hyper casual, you can do it small, but not now. But back then, it was possible. Like we was depending on the time, it was from 2 to 5 people in a team. So
Oh,
and it's not a huge team.
no.
Hyper casual is about iterating and iterating fast. So you need to come up with ideas, make an MVP, test it, drop it, and move to the next idea. And this is how
Mhm.
day of hyper casual developer actually looks like.
What? Yeah, my next question was exactly that. I actually on purpose didn't Google that to make myself smarter. What are the casual games? In my mind, it does suggest maximizing like the ease of mechanics, for example, so my mom can play it.
Yeah.
What is the essence of casual games?
You mean hyper casual, right?
Uh, is there really big difference? I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually a huge difference between casual games and hyper casual. In hyper casual games, playing it, you don't even. Sometimes you don't even realize that you are playing a game. It's kind of an app, a relaxing app, or something like that. And it's not really a game. It doesn't have the fancy graphics. It's very pure, purish more. And the difference is actually that hyper casual games have a very broad audience. It doesn't. It's this is not niche games. It's actually your, I don't know, your young brother or your son could play it, and your grandmother should play it too. So it should be, the game should be tolerant to users, to the game control and core mechanics. Then it should be pretty simple and should be pretty rewarding. It's not like you're trying hard to pass the level and you continue doing that with the pain. Hyper casual is not about the pain.
It's not about Dark Souls fans.
Yeah, it's about the pleasure and it's about rewarding. So every action, after every action, you should have some kind of reward.
Yeah, that's all likes and that's.
Yeah.
Then I suppose do you have I think it's probably really important. Then do you have any psychology specialists on your team as well?
Not really, not like a dedicated person, but like a lot of books recommended for hyper casual developers include actually psychology studies and this kind
Yeah,
of stuff,
I presume so.
like the book of Kahneman and all the stuff. And many when it's all started, a lot of hyper casual game publishers actually advertised this kind of games. Like the one of them is the Kahneman game, the Kahneman book. Yeah.
I see. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have a feeling that when you want to start and if you want to make a hyper casual game, you cannot be in every aspect like a small indie, because some things in this development should be already like AAA-ish. Like, for example, marketing the game. I think that's the most brutal thing for mobile games.
Yeah, but like in my opinion, the hyper casual developers, especially the first wave of developers, kind of learn all the aspects of game development, because game is not that big, and it's really important to have a fit and to have a fit with the marketing, with gameplay, with monetization. Like all these components should be in place. So
yeah, you have to be really good at this aspect. When, for example, like myself, I still can make a game and not be good at it to some extent, but you have to be good there.
Yeah, because The business model is really simple. Like you have a CPI, which is cost per install, and it's an LTV, like lifetime value of the user, and you have to just define this balance so that CPI is lower than LTV. So meaning that you're buying users cheaper than you could monetize them, and that's simple. And when you're working hyper casual, you should think about two of these components. You should think about marketability, like how the gameplay is appealing to your users, to your players, and think also about the gameplay. So they see something fancy, something that they want to click on, and then it should be something that they want to play it and play
And
it for
click one more
some
time.
time.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, exactly. So that's why when you develop when you're a hyper casual developer, you should kind of understand all of these aspects. And there are some more, like you should be pretty good at analytics, and you should be pretty good at monetization, because like you have to know what is ad monetization. You should not be afraid of showing a lot of ads inside the game.
that
Because
big
I
guy.
think
Yeah.
yeah, because I think indie doesn't like it, and premium model doesn't have it. But in free-to-play games and hyper casual games, you show a lot of ads after, let's say, 35 seconds of gameplay. You see an ad which is kind of 10 seconds. So most of your experience is actually watching other games, watching ads.
Yeah, of course, it's totally understandable because people who makes those things, they have families and stomachs, so
Yeah.
everybody needs to be paid. I suppose that mechanics are made first, and only then you kinda choose the dress for it.
Yeah, I could tell you about the game setting and this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
when you're in hyper casual games, your aim is to make a game which is appealing to the majority of users on the market. So imagine some people like zombies, some people like I don't know, let's say some magic things, some like
Cats.
dragons, cats, exactly.
Yeah.
And when you but hyper casual is not about the niche games. It's about the niche audience. It's about most wild audience. That's why when you're playing hyper casual games, you often see kind of themeless games with stickmans, with pretty simplified characters, and but by doing so, you kind of making the audience, like your potential audience, even broader. That's why settings and setting itself and kind of different visual styles doesn't really matter. And most of the developers actually remove any kind of setting to broaden the audience. And
And it
like
costs money as well. Or
yeah, it costs money, and it's your choice. You need to think, oh, what should I choose? But in hyper casual, you don't choose. You just don't use any of the themes. There are some games like now they have the theme, but they're more niche. But if you follow the market and you see on the top games, most of them doesn't have any theme. It's just like stickmans and very simplified characters in the game without
oh
any
yeah,
face, without anything, so that you could imagine everything else that
yeah.
needed
The
by
player
itself.
fills in the gaps. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
actually pretty. That's a common, I guess, not tactic, but that's a common thing that actually a lot of developers use. I think it's a good
yeah.
thing. Well,
And
to an extent, but yeah.
and there are a lot of studies that if your game is about the core mechanics, if it's not narrative game, it's like the game with the core mechanics. There are a lot of studies that people after 10 to 15 minutes stop noticing your graphic. They're kind of playing the system, not the kind of fancy graphics you are invested in. That's why hyper casual in this way they're kind of more beneficial. You don't You don't put your money on the art, on the fancy art and environment, and you put more kind of into the how people actually interact with them, how good it feels, how good can you read the color scheme, like what color is your characters, what's the obstacles, and what's the danger color, and this color contrast is more important than visuals itself.
Well, it rubs me wrong way, but I totally understand. Yeah.
Yeah, but for narrative games, like and we are also doing some different games at the moment, not only hyper casual. In narrative games, it's more the characters and the visuals actually that does matter. Like it could be more cartoonish, or it more be like of real life
More
graphics
rich with details.
Yeah, more yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, man, is it how long do you do this now?
Oh, I think maybe 5 or 6 years, something like that.
It's not that much. Is the passion there still?
Yeah, of course, because you kind of setting new goals and you get in there, and market change every day, so you have a lot of challenges. It's considering the games, but there are a lot of challenges with the team, with the company itself. So the team is growing, and a lot of communication flows appear. So it's many different challenges. But I'm still in games. I still do games. I love them and design them. So this passion doesn't go out. That doesn't go anywhere.
Awesome.
It's one thing is that you don't now I don't make like dream games that I was dreaming probably before that, but more working on what the audience needs.
So you're a grown up now.
Yeah, in these terms, it's more like a business approach.
Yeah, that was kind of the key I was asking in is this more a business or now is it all a business? But it sounds like, well, do you sometimes feel a bit I can't say privileged because I have another examples, but well, to be a game developer in Latvia still sounds a bit, what do you do again? Thing, and do you feel good about yourself that you actually made it from here, from northern Eastern Europe? I don't know where we are now because news and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do actually, because when you are talking in Latvia about games, most of the kind of people think in gambling, and because in Latvia there are a lot of gambling companies, like the companies which actually doing casino and this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's really cool that we did it here. Of course, we have a lot of developers and team members from all other countries,
yes.
like Russia, Ukraine, Poland, and Belarus, like all kind of countries. But still, yeah, I think it's a big step, and it's a big thing for Latvia. Because I know that, for example, let's check our neighbors like Finland, like Belarus and Poland. They have really great communities, and they generate a lot of money for their governments, for their countries, and making like a lot of investment into the studying and this kind of stuff. But yeah, in our countries, it's just starting, and it's great that we started. We have some other companies here in Latvia, pretty big ones. Yeah,
they are not Latvian though, I think.
Well,
if I understand you correctly, I think I know which you mean.
Yeah, we could name drop here. uh, yeah, they are Latvians. Yes,
Oh,
some of them are Latvian. Yeah, and it's a good to see that Latvian dev industry is kind of moving, but it's not moving that fast that I would really like, because we are game development is all about the talents, right? And the more companies doing that, the more individuals doing the game development, um, the better the industry in countries itself. Like I don't know if
yeah.
you've seen what's happening in Turkey right now with all the huge companies and merchant acquisitions there. Like there are a lot of hyper casual game publishers, developers. There are a lot of casual
Mm.
game developers, and overall industry is really rich and high. And a lot of conferences happening, game development conferences
Mm.
happening there, like one in this April, the White Nights, the big game dev conference is happening in Istanbul.
Oh, good for
Uh,
them. I actually heard, yeah, you mentioned Finland, and also I know about Sweden that they have governmental grants for
yeah,
games,
yeah,
while
yeah.
here you have basically one place to go if you don't know any rich friends or whatnot,
Mhm.
and they just say straight up, the games is nothing, games ain't art, go fuck yourself. That well,
Yeah,
they didn't
yeah.
say the last bit, but well,
We all know that that they mean.
yeah. Well, yeah, we have still we. Why do we say we? We are doing our thing. They have a road ahead of them. Those old people. It's a heavy business-sided thing you have now. Well, not just because of the games per se, but well, people involved, a lot of them. And what lessons did you learn on the way here? Like, there's always something that you'd never expected, and it happened, and oh, this works like that. Like
Yeah.
you said, your first try failed as well. What we should look out? Ours, we small game developers.
Okay. Yeah, I think that there are a lot of learnings that I could kind of provide, and I would do some of the learnings. Like one of the learning is that you should listen to a customer, which is pretty simple, but sometimes you are thinking your stuff and uh, your idea of what is good game, and it's and it's okay. It could be kind of a master kind of artwork, right? But if you are thinking about games and making some money, you should think about what is really important for your users and what they want to play. And the best way how to find it out is to test it, and test it as soon as it possible. For example, we currently, when we're prototyping and doing MVP products, the time till we go to market is about 2 weeks. So it's 2 weeks of prototyping, and then we go to market and collect the initial metrics of the game. Like we trying to understand, like, is it good? Is it bad? Is it good time to just throw it away and start something new? It doesn't work with all kind of games, but still, the faster you get to the market and get the feedback, the better. It kind of gives you some feedback. It motivates you or demotivates you depending on the game.
Wait, you said
Yeah, but
no.
still, yeah.
You said like the 2 days and to market. Week.
Two weeks, two weeks, and
2
to the
weeks and to
market.
the market.
Yeah.
You mean like you release the game?
It's not like a public release. It's more like a test in couple of in some countries. Kind of for the mobile games, it's like we really could do a playable game for one day. Like we trying to get content for a one day so to see the retention for the next day, and this is important metrics for us. So if people are coming back on the second day to your game, and this percentage is quite high, we have some kind of benchmark for that. Then it's a good indicator that your game is really worth it, and it's something interesting. And and this is test number one. And test number two is marketability. We make a small video clips and put it on Facebook advertisement. And we see how many people clicks on the videos, how many of them install the game, and how many of them retain. So we kind of see the full funnel of how our game would perform in future when we release it globally. And based on that, we kind of make our initial assumption about the game. Is the mechanics good enough? Is the marketing good enough? Is the gameplay good enough? Our levels are too complicated or too easy or something like that. So we kind of get this insight and decide what we can do.
Jeez, it's really fast-paced train.
Yeah,
wow,
it is.
Like you can't go on a monthly on a vacation for a month, I guess. You're missing everything. Jesus, it's a lot. Okay. So obviously, the target is mobile phones, or
yeah, exactly.
And we all know the benefits of it. But maybe are there any aspects that you kinda would like to have on the mobile, but that still doesn't come from what we can have on the computers? For example, always when any time the mobile or Switch is mentioned, that very second I think about audio, because it feels like audio on these mobile platforms have almost no value. What would be the things that you would want to have on mobile but can't? Well, at least yet.
I think sometimes regarding the audio, it's working on mobile pretty well, and it's right now it's really necessary to make the audio, because there are some studies 30% or less kind of playing the games with the audio.
But it could be shitty though.
It could be shitty, yeah, but there are additional kind of there is a vibro and haptic feedback, which is pretty good, and you don't have it on PC. You have it on the PlayStation, but you don't have it on PC. And mobile have it, and some of the feedbacks you could provide with the haptic. Regarding what is missing on mobile, I think everything is there, but you won't be. If you check the biggest titles, then AAA on the mobile, like Fortnite, all the battle royales.
No, I'm not gonna check it, but I'll believe you. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, because you can play, and there is a lot of audience for these big titles on the mobile. So it's really possible to have a joystick on a screen, to have a lot of buttons for reloading, shooting, grenades, and this kind of stuff, and you still can play it. So basically, mobile have everything. But when we're talking about the hyper casual, we try to make the control as easy as possible, so that the wider audience could get into the gameplay.
My mom.
Because controls sometimes could be an issue on mobile if you are not kind of really experienced in that, or you're trying to make really kind of complicated thing or something like that. But there are a lot of examples out there, like AAA games on the mobile, and they're feeling perfectly fine.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Actually, that one just popped into my mind. even if you nowadays, even if you play on a PC, you still have a controller for some games that are just better with a controller. How what's up with the controllers connected to phones? Is this a thing? Somebody does that, or because probably that would be pretty great, no?
I don't know. I haven't tried myself.
I don't know if it exists actually. Just
Yeah, I saw some controls, but they're not widely used, and especially for the casual games, it's not really needed for this
well,
kind
yeah,
of
for
games.
casual, of course, yeah. Alrighty. So you are here for 6 years, at least. How would you describe the scene? You are now, of course, bigger than indie. Actually, how would you position yourself? Double A, triple A?
Not a triple A at all. Like we are not kind of casual studio, and we are a little bit bigger than a hyper casual studio. So we kind of in between there. Because for casual games, teams are usually like 20 to 60 and more people, but hyper casual teams could be, let's say, 6 people is enough to create a good hyper casual title. So we are kind of in between.
Alright, let's call it double A. It sounds good. But how then you're I will start again with my experience. When I started, like for the first year, I was I was shocked every week, at least once, how good the scene is. Before that, I heard just bad stories that game devs hate each other and give bad advice, but it actually is the complete opposite. Probably being on a larger scale yourself, you probably are not so connected. Maybe it's not a bad thing. It's just could be a real. No, well, it's a reality of life, probably. I presume. I may be wrong. But how would you describe the scene of mobile developers, like in a grand scale? Are you all good people? Or are you all bastards? How the communication goes? What's your world?
Yeah. It's like, let's say, casual gaming and hyper casual gaming is a little bit different. For in hyper casual games, some years ago, it was really not a very good place in terms of competition and this kind of stuff, because the ideas and it had really huge value. Imagine that you made your game for like two weeks or 3 weeks, and you release it, and it have like a huge potential, and some other studios could see it and make a clone and release it. And while it doesn't take too much time implementing the mechanics that already exist, and it's hyper casual, meaning that you don't need like super fancy art, super fancy and everything. You could copy games pretty fast, and the winner is the one who have like great technologies to move the game to the top. And there were on the market a lot of nasty stories when imagine some indie studio made a great game, came to the publisher, publisher somehow showed it to other studios, and other studio overcame it and made it faster, and it wasn't really great place back then. Nowadays it's better because hyper casual is growing, and hyper casual as an industry is growing and majoring. Yeah, so now it's a good place. There are a lot of conferences happening, even on hyper casual. I've attended some of them this year already,
Already?
and
Wow, yeah.
yeah, and some of them are it's an online conferences, but offline are coming too, pretty soon. So it's really good community nowadays. People don't afraid to share their ideas because implementation takes longer, and um, execution and kind of amount of content does matter. So you cannot steal someone's games really fast and be the first one. So it's majoring, and it's getting better and better. Regarding the casual market, I think it's more mature market, and it's been there for a long time. And I think it's more about the good guys, because everybody sharing their experiences, best practices, and so on and so on.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I think it's a good place for the casual, and it's getting a good place for hyper casual developers and the market itself,
Well, yeah, and
and, and the ecosystem.
yeah, I'm happy to hear that because it sounded like at least a couple of years ago you were like living on an island uh, uh, and defended your castle against the world. Uh, and yeah, my thoughts. Yeah, why maybe it's really more friendlier in indie space, because if you wanna steal something, you have to steal a lot, and it will cost a lot of money. Like it's not, you can't steal mechanics because they're like everywhere, but the art, the pacing, the everything that is just not viable to steal something like that. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and well, let's not talk about that. What's good about it? What but maybe on a more personal level, what do you like the most being in this industry?
Okay. Um, well, I think that one of the good thing about the mobile games, because it's a kind of crossing between like a lot of different spheres that come to one thing. And what I mean by that is like to develop the good mobile game, hyper casual or casual, you need to have like different things. Like you have to have a good marketing, you need to understand it and have a kind of expertise in that. You should have a great game itself with technology. But the game is not only about technology; it's also about the game design and art. So this is art and technology combined. Games also about the mobile games is also about the analytics and technologies behind that, which is kind of math and statistics and everything like that.
And
It's
you like it? It
also
sounds.
Yeah, and it's also about the psychology and different aspects of like why people coming back to the game, why they're retaining, what are the retention mechanisms, this behavior psychology. And in order to make great games, you have to have all the components in place, and that is really
Interesting.
interesting, and it's
It's not
really.
boring for you.
Yeah,
That's the best
absolutely
thing.
not.
Well,
Yeah.
I can understand all those retention things and yada yadas in a mobile. What your what are your thoughts on big players in PC space who s- still and not still they those multi-transaction things, and what are your thoughts on that you have to buy a game and then pay like $1 gazillion more just to have content in the game? It's like just a comment. It's,
Yeah. Yeah, for the mobile, it's a pretty common thing. Like
sure,
you
yes.
don't pay for the game, but later on when you progress with the game, it's time to start paying something.
Pay, motherfucker.
Yeah, pay, motherfucker. Yeah. Uh, what do you mean? I think it's kind of this additional payments inside the game.
Yes,
Well,
yeah, on a PC platform. You
yeah.
probably
Well,
know.
I think it's kind of helped developers to develop more content and to. Um, I personally like this subscription model for the games, like all these passes on different platforms. This is a kind of a good idea. Kind of you're paying monthly something, and you're getting more and more content.
Well, Game
This is kind
Pass
of
now is all the rage. Xbox.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and that's pretty cool. This is kind of my thought. And if you want to advance like in a game, well, you pay it. And it's nothing wrong with that. You're paying for like movies, like Netflix.
yeah,
You,
but what do you think about, for example, you buy the game and then if you want that pistol, you have to buy it for $5. Like,
um,
it's kind of
yeah, but it's still a kind of game economy, and you know that developing the AAA game it's really expensive, and the risks are really high because there are a lot of studios, a lot of companies doing this, and probably same genre and so on and so on. And games just and game developers just need to maximize their revenues, and this kind of allows them to make some bigger projects. And because like let's say Half-Life, which was like 10 years ago, and Half-Life now, the production costs, I don't know, quadrupled or even more. So that's why the costs and these in-app purchases kind of appears there, so that developer could maximize their revenues. They're not like a charity, right?
Of course, but don't you think that that maximizing sometimes oversteps its boundaries? Like, because
yeah, there are, I think there are
it's a $60 for a game, or 60
Yeah.
euros. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but this kind of games, like usually it's not for a month or so. They're kind of
That's for
a
sure.
big game you could play like a year or maybe more. That's why I think it doesn't sound too bad to me, because kind of I know what it costs to create the content, and if they wouldn't have that this in-app purchases, probably the game wouldn't be developing even further, and the support in the game, the servers, and like
And
team expenses.
yeah, they would
It's
fire
really,
Q&A even faster.
yeah, exactly. So to me, it's not a big problem. I think it's and you see that people actually willing to pay it for, let's say, for the World of Tanks. You could play like a free tire and you don't need to pay anything. But if you wanna advance, and if you
Yes.
don't have time, kind of grinding for a better tank, then buy it. If you have money and you wanna achieve some results, why not? You go buy super tank, destroy everyone, feel like you're a king of the hill, and be happy.
Of
And if
course,
that
yeah.
makes you happy, why not?
Yeah, if there wouldn't be buyers, we wouldn't see that, of course. What are your thoughts on NFTs? Fast one.
I'm considering this, but not there yet.
Okay. I almost said that it's a good answer, but it wasn't quite good. But okay, I'll forgive you. So anyway, that's it from me. Then I promised half an hour, and we are already past the half an hour. So you said to me when I met you, you said to me one thing that's probably the only thing I remember, because I was high. No, I wasn't. I joke. But never lie to your players, and that was a. And the second part. Can I say the second part? Do you remember?
Sure.
That never tell everything to publishers.
Yeah, that's true. You need to have a good card in your deck with the publisher. Otherwise, they would they feel that they're stronger and they would get everything from you.
It's all about leverage.
But no, yeah, but it's not with all publishers, but most of them. And it's not only with publishers; it's with all the partners. If you are really honest with the publisher, because publishers sometimes it could be your partner, but usually it's not. And a lot of bad stories I heard and I experienced myself was because of you kind of telling, like imagine you're telling you're out of money and you are negotiating the like let's say revenue share. How do you think the because publishers they're kind of business. If they're not your friends or your good partners and you don't have a good experience with the publisher, then saying these things kind of make you weaker, and publishers are not charity as well. They kind of want their shares, and if they see that
when they see that you are weak,
yeah, they could ask a little bit more. I think this changes a bit, because especially for the hyper casual market, because nowadays it's really there are a lot of publishers out there, and they're kind of fighting for a good studios who could deliver hits. So it's a bit different, but when it all started, all the publishers was like. Okay, this is for me and this is for you. And if you say, well, but we need money now, okay, then this is for us and this small tiny thing for you.
Yeah. And they might be a bit of scared as well, because like last year's people, also developers, are more vocal about this stuff.
Yeah.
They bad reputation, you can't get it back. Well, you can't get back good one. So yeah, that was one advice you gave me. Maybe something. What would you say to our listeners who are developers and players? So maybe last words.
Like make a good games, and this is what actually matters. Everything else, the publishers, the marketing, and everything else would be there if you just make a good game that actually adds value to the industry, to the ecosystem. Just focus on your users, focus on the what you're actually giving them. And that's kind of important.
Do your best, and if it comes, it comes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. And what is your kind of relation with NFT? Like, let's finish that with buzz, with hype.
I don't like them.
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
So if you would tell me, "Oh, I hate them," I would applaud you. Now I didn't. So it was a trick question.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Nu tā, paldies tev, vecīt.
Tev arī paldies, bija interesanti. A lot of questions actually made me think about things. That's always very good stuff.
Oh,
thanks.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for a compliment. I thought. So that's how our interview went. I do hope my questions were not so newbie. You are really welcome to visit GRUNND.com for the links, check out other episodes, maybe wishlist GRUNND on Steam, send me an email, and yeah, probably that. And as always, have a coffee and be safe. And fuck war. That pure evil in some people, complete disregard for lives, is mind-boggling. I hope everything bad ends soon and we can live in peace. Take care and love your family. Or start one if you haven't one. Okay, all the best. Ciao.